I want to thank the jury in the federal district court case, and I also want to thank Judge Bertelsmann for the historic verdict today in the Sarah Jones defamation case against the Dirty World LLC, which operates the Dirty.com, along with the owner, operator, editor, Nick Ritchie. The jury was very wise and very brave, because what they did was not only render the first jury verdict against this website, but it's the first verdict against a website like this in this country. In addition to that, Judge Bertelsmann, who ruled that the Communication Decency Act, which was passed in 1996, did not apply to a website like the Dirty.com, because Nick Ritchie not only owned it, he edited, he screened what posts went up. He made the decision of what was removed. He ruled that he was like a newspaper. A newspaper in this country, through their editing, they control what goes up. A newspaper just can't throw their hands up and say, oh, it doesn't make any difference what we put up there. We didn't write that. Somebody else wrote it. The Communication Decency Act was passed with the intent for places like Facebook, where they provide the platform and someone posts something, they have nothing to do with the content. That wasn't the case with Nick Ritchie and the Dirty.com. If you're going to be a website in this country and you're just going to provide the platform and let people post, that's one thing. But if you're going to control the content, you're going to screen it, you're going to decide what goes up, what comes down, and then you're going to make smart comments about it, you have a responsibility. And let me tell you something else that people in this country don't realize, and this sticks in my craw. The internet is not a license to defame. If you're anonymous, you're not anonymous, you're on a website or a Facebook or anything like that, guess what? You're not allowed to defame. The First Amendment has never protected defamation in this country. Did you know that our founding fathers were involved in libel, in slander, in defamation lawsuits? All the time. In other words, the concept of defamation in our Constitution has been there forever. It's an extension of the First Amendment, but it is a loophole to where the First Amendment does not protect defamatory speech. What's defamation? It's really simple. It is a false statement about another person, which you know is false, and it goes to their character, and it's published to a third person. For example, you can go on the internet and you could say, that person is a whore, that person is a slut. You can't go on and say, Jane Doe has the clap. It's very specific. It's fact-oriented. And that's what happened in this case. In the Sarah Jones case, the Dirty.com allowed a post to be placed that said that she had sex with Shane, clearly implied she had sex with Shane Graham, the former Bengals kicker, and every other Bengal football player. To where it was like, well, maybe it wasn't all of them, but it was at least more than one. The worst posts is that she had chlamydia and gonorrhea. By the way, all of these things false. In addition to that, while she's a teacher, there was a post about her being a sex maniac with her boyfriend at the time, on her desk, in her office, on the football field, so forth and so on. All of these things are false. And you know what? Today, a federal jury said, we're not going to let you get away with that conduct. It is a huge victory against cyberbullying and cyber defamation. There are people out there that have committed suicide. People who are contemplating suicide. People are driven to suicide by the defamatory comments that are made on these websites. And let me tell you something else too. This had to do with the operator of a site. You're not immune from defamation, folks, by posting something on Facebook or a website because it's the website. If they know that you posted, they can sue you for defamation. And let me tell you something else, homeowners. Homeowners usually provide insurance for such a thing. So if you own a home and you defame somebody, they're coming after your insurance policy. The bottom line is that we all have opinions. We all get out of control every once in a while. We all say things we may regret. But the one thing you can't do is you can't defame. I have been on the radio for 5 or 6 years. I do television interviews all the time. I do a newsletter. You know what? I've never been sued for libel or defamation. Never. Why? Because I know what libel and I know what defamation is. It's that simple. I know what it is. You don't say these type of things. So it's a victory for America. Now, in this particular case, the jury awarded $30,000 compensatory damages, $38,000 compensatory, and $300,000 punitive damages. The defense claims they're going to appeal. Let them appeal. They also claim they were broke. You know what that means? My guess is if they really do gross only $500,000 a year like they claim, well, we just got nearly 1 year's gross revenue of $338,000. And I got a message for Nick Ritchie. Guess what, Nick? If you don't have $338,000 to post as a bond, we get to garnish your advertising revenue, your bank accounts, your speaking engagements, and you post them on the site so we know when they're coming. In addition to that, Nick, we're going to put liens on every piece of property. We're going to seize computers. Nick, your laptop that you work off of, it's going to be ours. So within 30 days, when the judgment's final and they don't post a $338,000 bond, we are going to unleash hell upon their operations and shut them down. I have an obligation as Sarah Jones' attorney, and I have an obligation to this jury. I asked this jury, do something big. They did their part. They did something big. And I am going to fight this battle all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court if I have to. And I am going to fight this battle against the dirty.com and seize every single thing Nick Ritchie has. If Nick Ritchie has 30 cents in a piggy bank under his bed, I'm going to find it. Let me tell you something else about these so-called libel lawyers and defamation lawyers out there. They say, this could have a chilling effect upon people when they operate these websites that they may not want to screen because they don't want to be held accountable. Boulder Dash. These sites are going to be scared to death about defamation. That's a good thing. What kind of human beings say, well, that could be bad if we want to screen about defamation? Who says that type of stuff? Who thinks there should be a chill against people wanting to defame? And again, folks, I actually said to Nick Ritchie himself, I told Nick, I said, Nick, you know what? I understand your business idea and your concept. Why? People love dirt. It's sick. And my kind of thing, they love dirt. Look at all the people that go to a site. But I said, Nick, you don't have to defame anybody. In other words, you want to peddle dirt? People want to go watch that? Fine. You don't defame people. It's really that simple. And by the way, truth's in defense. Man, if somebody's got a naked picture of them doing something they shouldn't be doing, that's not libel, that's not defamation, it's the truth. But you gotta be careful. So today, a federal jury in the Eastern District of Kentucky, and those outside of the area should know, we're right across the river from Cincinnati, okay? The first time somebody tells me this was some hill-jack Kentucky jury, those are fighting words. These were intelligent jurors. These were well thought of jurors. These were jurors that were thoughtful. They deliberated for over 10 hours to coming to this decision. And you know what? They came to the right decision. But they struck a blow for liberty and freedom from defamation, from scuzzballs like Nick Ritchie. The bottom line is this is historic, and we're going to hold on and we're going to fight. And you know what? The bottom line is, it's a beautiful day for America because of what the jury did. Sarah Jones was a brave woman. Those of you who don't know the backstory, Sarah Jones was convicted of a felony. She pled guilty to a felony because she got involved in a relationship with an almost 18-year-old boy at a high school where she already knew him prior to his high school career and everything else. By the way, they're still together. But it was a scandal. She lost her teaching job. Her marriage fell apart. Fell apart for really other reasons. She had lost her whole career. Just was brutalized in the media. Public humiliation. And you know what the dirty.com did in the trial? They said, well, because she lied about trying to cover up this event and everything else, you should let us off the hook for what we posted 2 years prior to the scandal. Those people out there that don't know all the facts, it's really simple. The defamation on the dirty.com with Sarah Jones happened 2 years prior to the scandal at the school. So we asked the jury, hey, just consider those 2 years. What happened? And the jury understood it. The jury got it. I am a very experienced trial lawyer. My nickname's the Bulldog, all right? In 200 jury trials, I have never seen, and she's 28 years old, I've never seen a witness more scorched in cross-examination. Not because of the talent of the lawyer, but because of the material they had. I mean, she told lies to everybody when she was trying to hide and cover up the scandal, okay? And she had to face every one of those lies. Text messages revealed, embarrassing things, over and over and over. And she stayed on that witness stand, and she was brave, and the jury appreciated that bravery. We did something else strategically in the case. We called 2 witnesses. Sarah Jones, Nick Ritchie. A lying good person and a scuzzball bad person. And the jury looked at both sides, and what did they decide? They ruled for the good person who made a mistake, not somebody who tries to wreck lives day after day after day after day. And I want to tell you something else too. There's times in America where justice is actually done. I fight for it every day. There's nothing worse than fighting a cause and you lose because of some immunity. You fight a cause and you lose on a technicality. You fight a losing cause. I fight losing causes and crusades every day. But justice was done. Justice was done in this case. And it is a good day. Once again, a great day in America because a brave woman stood up to a scuzzball website called thedirty.com. Thank you.